Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Really quickly, I just want to give a word of encouragement on how to raise your self-esteem. I've been talking about emotional abuse and how to identify emotional abuse if you're in an emotional abusive situation, how to deal with if you're in an emotional situation, and then how to recover if you've been in an emotional abuse situation. Also, how emotional abuse affects your mental health. So we talked about that for the Mental Health Awareness Month. That was my contribution for this month, is emotional abuse. But if you've been in an emotional abusive situation, or you were emotional abuse, you was raised in an emotional abusive household or by emotional abusive caregivers, then your mind has been conditioned to emotionally abuse yourself, to have a lot of negative self-talk, your inner voice. It's like you're abusing yourself. I am not enough. I can't. People won't love me the way I deserve to be loved. I never do things right. You're just angry all the time. You're frustrated all the time. You're scared to leap. You're scared to take on new challenges because you believe that you will fail. The fear of failure, the fear of success, these fear filters that rule your life causes you to settle and causes you to be unhappy. And like, this is just not right. I wish. And you look at other people and wish you could be there. Let me say this. Let me be honest with you. There are some people who suffer with low self-esteem who have graduated, got master's degrees, got doctorate degrees. There's people, millionaires, who suffer with low self-esteem. Okay, people who are doing well financially, but they're narcissistic, they're bipolar, they're angry, they're frustrated, they're horrible bosses, they're horrible pastors, they're horrible community leaders, and they're horrible parents. It don't matter. It's because their emotional, their belief system has been tainted one way or another, through usually emotional abuse, sometimes physical abuse, but a lot of times emotional abuse. And I'm going to tell you what, I said this before, I'm going to say it one more time. A lot of times we're raised in emotional abusive situations where the parents don't even realize they're being emotionally abusive. They're just handing down emotional wounds that they got when they were younger. So you have parents with low self-esteem raising children who now have low self-esteem. So how do I raise my self-esteem? How do I do this? The first thing you have to do is you have to address your negative self-talk. When you are talking negative to yourself, when that negative self-talk, I am not enough, I don't have what it takes, I can't get this and I can't do that, and whatever that negative self-talk is, I have to lower my standards, or I don't have standards, so I allow Billy to beat up on me emotionally. No. I have to take down in order to be loved. I have to subject myself to a situation that I don't even like to be loved. That's negative. How do we deal with that? Number one, when those negative thoughts arise, you have to speak the truth to it. First, you have to identify where it came from. Where did it come from? Who told you that? Where was that belief nurtured? Was it nurtured in your childhood? Was it something your mom said? Was it a way that she talked to you? When every time you do something like, you were just so stupid, even though she loved you, but for some reason you felt like you were dumb? Was it because as much as you tried to get good grades and you would fail? Or maybe you did good grades, but your parents never praised you. They never told you good job. How about you got promises for stuff and people just didn't come through for you? How about you were labeled and your family was labeled, so you constantly was trying to prove to everybody that you're not what people labeled you as, but you end up just falling back into the label because you didn't know how to, recover from that? What was it that told you? Who was it? What situation was it that nurtured that negative self-talk? And then once you identify it, I need you to tell your mama, the stepdaddy, the daddy, the church, the school, that I wasn't that. Sometimes you have to tell yourself, I wasn't that. I am enough. I'm sorry, Mom, that you always called me stupid. I'm sorry that you felt that way. And I'm really not sorry, but I'm not stupid. And I don't care if you're 50 years old and you got to tell your mama in the mirror, because mama maybe not be here, or you ain't going to call your mama and tell her that, but you're going to say that in your heart. Mama, you was wrong. Daddy, just because you left me didn't mean that I wasn't enough. It didn't mean that I wasn't worthy to be loved. Sexual molester, because you decided to cross boundaries doesn't mean that I have to walk around with a city without walls. I have to walk around and let people just pounce all over me because you did. I am somebody. And just because you decided to be perverted does not mean that I even deserved it. I didn't deserve that. I didn't deserve it. Mom, because you called me out my name, I'm not the names that you called me. I am fearfully and wonderfully made because God said I am. He didn't make no junk. And everything he created to be beautiful. To everybody who called you ugly, to everybody who belittled you and talked about you and treated you like scum, you talk to them and you tell them that is not who God said I am. That's not me. And the reason I am the way I am is because I believed what you told me. And you devil from hell, in the name of Jesus, this is the last day I'm going to believe your lies. They were lies. It's not the truth. It's not the truth. I am who God says I am. I am his masterpiece. I am somebody special. I am. And I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I have no limits, no more boundaries. And then after you talk to the situation that nurtured that low self-esteem, then I need you to, for every bad thought that you know that you have that you're settling in, I need you to get information to speak to that thing. Whether it's the word of God, get some YouTube videos, or get my book, I Healed on Purpose, Detoxing the Wounded Soul, which is beneath here and under the description here on YouTube. You can get that book, Woman Up, Nice Girls Finish Last. Talks about building your self-esteem and rebuilding your boundaries. You can do this. You do not have to stay in a toxic environment in your mind. The reason why a lot of people with low self-esteem end up with people with low self-esteem, because what the other person is telling them in that toxic belief, in that toxic relationship, your belief system absorbs it because it believes it already. If somebody kept telling you something you really didn't believe, you're going to leave them and let them be. You know, I've heard somebody say this woman was thriving really good before this man came into her life and he began to tear her down slowly. And some people that happened to. But for some people, it's because although they were thriving financially, or maybe they was doing good financially and they had a good education, they were busy doing. They were busy trying to prove to somebody they wasn't who they said they were, without addressing the wounds that were attached to it and telling them, I am not that person. You found somebody who's highly competitive. They're real competitive. You don't know why every time you take 2 steps, they try to, prove that they're better than you. And maybe they come out on top. Doesn't mean they have a higher self-esteem. The person is just as damaged as you are. Trust me when I tell you. It comes in self-esteem. Low self-esteem comes in a lot of different packages. That's why you find people who have money who contemplate suicide, or they lose, they it's their nervous breakdowns and stuff, because they're building their foundation. They're trying to build on a weak foundation. Some people get really far but end up on drugs and alcohol. People who are subjecting themselves to drugs and alcohol, even overeating, whatever. Let's just be honest. Depression, anxiety, come on now. All of that. Because we're believing a lie. And so if you want to raise your self-esteem, you have to stop believing the lie. So now we're going rebuilding. We're casting down an old belief system and rebuilding our belief system on truth. And that is how you raise your self-esteem. Listen, you can conquer every one of your fears. Another way you raise your self-esteem is begin to set out to do something and then get somebody that's an accountability partner to make sure you see that thing through. Because your self-esteem raises as you are conquering. Okay? As you are, some people do things that they don't, that doesn't scare them. But for you, it's very scary. So don't compare yourself to that person. Don't compare yourself to some people are just good at what they do. Some people are really good doers. They do a lot of things. They do have a lot of accomplishments. It does not mean they have a high self-esteem. It doesn't. Have you ever met somebody who was doing really good and you know, but the minute you start doing good, they try to make you look bad. They try to, you can't come up here with me. A healthy self-esteem is okay with everybody thriving. First, the world is so big. Well, you can't take on everybody, right? So if you found yourself in some company, I don't care who it is. It could be community leaders. It could be a teacher, a professor, whoever. And they're constantly biting your head off and they can't, you feel like every time you come around them that you're taking a beating somewhere. Like, man, I just had a conversation. I felt like I was in a freaking match with somebody emotionally. A person is suffering with low self-esteem. And if you're trying to raise your self-esteem, you're going to have to get from up under them. The reason why some people say stuck is because they keep attracting people. Who are your friends? Who's around you? I want you to name them. And if you got more people around you that suffer with a low self-esteem than people who are thriving and have healthy self-esteem, then I'm going to need you to start pulling away a little bit and start moving towards people who are healthy-minded so that you too can thrive in every area of your life. You don't want to be happy financially and then turn around and be sad in every other area in your life. You want true success is happiness, and that is a healthy mindset. So that we're going to raise our self-esteem, right, ladies? Right, gentlemen? I'm going to start with the negative self-talk, and when you hear it, I'm telling you, I've been through this, so I understand it. I'm telling you, when you hear it, yourself speak to yourself. That's why people don't like to spend time by themselves. That's why they're looking for Billy, Joe, and Jimmy. Because they don't want to deal with themselves. They're looking for, instead of their own self-estimate, they're looking for it from the outside. And when you open yourself up to believe what everybody else tells you, oh my God, good luck, honey. Because if Joe don't have a healthy self-esteem, and he only gonna help yours take more of a beating. Okay? And if you found yourself comfortable around somebody with low self-esteem, it is because, again, your negative self-talk agrees with his negative self-talk. But when you begin to build your self-esteem and somebody says stuff to you and it don't sit right with you, you'll pull away because you can't deal with that. So, one, we're going to identify where that negative self-talk came from. Then we're going to speak to it because it's a lie. And we're going to take ourselves and remove ourselves or distance ourselves. So distance yourself from someone, from a toxic environment, so that you can grow and get into some nurtured, healthy relationships, even if you have to start them right on social media. If you got to start with a coach, you got to start with a spiritual leader. Somebody will pour into you, pour truth into you. And that's how you raise your self-esteem. Listen, you guys, I am ending. Today is the last video of my abuse or emotional abuse series. I hope it blessed you. I hope that you were able to get something out of this. And so if you have any questions, reach out to me. Email me at athenathcoach@gmail.com. If you've listened to this and said, you know what, Athena, I need somebody to help walk me through this. It's just been years and I don't know how to do it, but I think I need an accountability partner. You know what? Reach out to me on my website. Set up a consultation. It's worth it. It's the best investment you will ever make into your own self. It's when you get somebody to hold you accountable to make your dreams come true, to blossom into your greater self. Reach out to me, www.athenathcoach.com, and I'll be more than happy to help you along your journey to raise your self-esteem, to keep you accountable to your goals, to help you shed off an old belief system so that you can thrive. Listen, if this video blessed you, please like the video. Then I need you to share my video and subscribe to my channel, and then hit the bell. Hit the bell down there so that when I come on, you'll be notified. Thank you for watching, and you have a blessed day.